Hi everybody, Dana Litwin here again, and welcome back to Tuesday Tips for Leaders of Volunteers. Today is Indigenous Peoples Day here in the U.S. Some of our states still call it Columbus Day, but the topic for this week's Tuesday Tips are planning and communicating and understanding holidays and cultural or religious time off for volunteers. And I have a few other videos that are kind of related to this, but specifically I want to talk about when you have a secular holiday like a bank holiday or an office closure or a government holiday versus something that is specific to a volunteer's culture, even if it's not on the calendar of the rest of the organization. And I've certainly worked with a lot of government agencies where it's pretty well communicated to the public when our office is going to be closed, usually on a Friday or a Monday for like President's Day, Labor Day, or today, Indigenous Peoples Day. And sometimes that communication hasn't been great for volunteers. And so, especially for those folks in your talent pool of volunteers or on your team who don't do email, or maybe they don't have smartphones and they're not getting text alerts, of just pre-printing a calendar of office closures or specific days off, and also communicate to volunteers where there might be shortages on certain holidays. So if someone is, for example, Jewish and observing Yom Kippur, people who are not Jewish can come in and maybe cover for that person's shift or that group's shift. So just kind of having an understanding and of the different impacts of holidays, especially if someone's not allowed to work or they need to fast, and kind of making accommodations around that. So there are a couple of categories of cultural or religious holidays. There's things that are happy celebrations like Diwali for Hindus, and then there are very somber or meditative or prayer-focused holidays where someone maybe isn't allowed to work or they don't want to work. Again, like Yom Kippur is a fasting and kind of more somber, serious holiday. And it's also important to have an understanding or a cultural sensitivity so you don't accidentally say something like Happy Yom Kippur when that's not how you celebrate it. You would say, we hope you have a meaningful fast, or wishing you a meaningful holiday or prayer or meditation. You also don't want to step on a toe for someone sending a birthday card to, for example, a Jehovah's Witness. So just having some curiosity and some understanding around your different volunteers and what people are taking time off for cultural or faith reasons, and maybe who else can in the team can help cover for them. It's really important, especially to understand fasting holidays and how you can assign work or tasks or duties if someone is fasting for one day or several days, or in the case of Muslims and Ramadan, pretty much an entire month. I used to produce an event called the Family Farm Feast or Family Harvest Feast in the fall, usually September or so, and we were just very careful to not have it not just land on Yom Kippur, but also for summer interns, some of whom were Muslim, were fasting during the entire month of Ramadan and working for a land trust, a special district, and outdoor agency. A lot of the interns' typical work in the summer would be very physically taxing and outdoors in high heat temperatures. And if someone is not eating or drinking during sunlight hours, that can be actually quite dangerous or even deadly to their health. So for interns who were observing Ramadan with my previous kind of outdoor agencies, we would just adjust their tasks for a month. So it would be equally important, equally useful, meaningful, not just busy work, but we would have someone be doing research or creating educational props or biofacts, or helping with more administrative tasks like helping clean up a database, things like that. So be aware of what holidays might not be known to you in your volunteer talent pool. I also want to bring up that for fireworks celebrating holidays, and again in the States it's 4th of July, but it varies from region to region and country to country, that refugees or new refugees or veterans, that can trigger PTSD. So if you're planning something that's loud noises or fireworks or explosions, not just for the fire danger in your area, which here in California is always a concern, but being mindful of how that may harm people who have been through some violence or explosions or are from war-torn areas or have seen active combat. It's also important to understand with the flow of refugees or new immigrants coming to your area that, Eastern Orthodox, if you're seeing a lot of Ukrainian or Eastern European immigration or refugees, that Eastern Orthodox calendars have different observances and dates and celebrations than Catholic or most Western Protestant observances. So again, your dates of when you are celebrating a Christmas or end of the year holiday or a New Year can be different. And I know that some of you might be asking, hey, Dana, there are thousands of religions and cultural observances. How can I learn them all? You don't need to know them all, but it's very, very important, especially for building trust with your volunteers and the community engagement overall with your agency, that you do understand the holidays, the observances, the fastings, the time off to spend with community or family or with someone's faith community that are a part of your larger community, especially when that doesn't align with mainstream government holidays or what your office is closing for. So just communicate, stay curious, learn. You can do a search engine to find out what are the most common holidays and add those to your calendars. If you are working with refugee or new immigrant populations, then you can learn from those communities, learn the language, learn the cultural ways and customs, just so that you can be aligned with that and create that most welcoming environment possible for all volunteers, so you get the widest possible talent pool of volunteers that genuinely reflect your community, and also helping to create that sense of belongingness that really helps any kind of team do work together better. So I hope you enjoyed these Tuesday tips about volunteers' holidays, and that maybe it made you a little more curious about some holidays or traditions that you're not already familiar with. So have fun with more Tuesday tips coming up next week. And if you're not yet subscribed, please join the Cool Kids Club and do that. And give a like to this video and share it with your friends if you think this is really interesting and useful information. And we'll see you next time with more Tuesday tips. Take care.